Alright, what's up, guys? I'm gonna do a review as to what I did right and wrong this week, right? As well as I'm gonna try to just review it. If I were trading MNQ, right, to see what type of live entries I would have taken on the day versus to see what I did take already, right? So I'm going to see if I can execute the charts on, I don't know, we run a 2-minute back test to see what live entries I would catch, right? So pre-market here, this is about 6 minutes before the market is opened. I could see that we are holding the 32900 level. So 2-minute bullish CBC flip to the upside. Low key, a buying red inside of here would have been a good move, risking the prior day's low, right? I would target the prior day's high as well, or potentially even the overnight high. But Friday high is the first target here, so this could be a potential entry if I just bought red here. Um, we are still in a overall bullish market here, as you can see. So rally, pulls back, potential higher low, clears out this high here, validates the higher low here, right? This is just an open inside day type we see now. So let's take a look furthermore. So nice little bull flag here. Keep in mind that it is we're only 15 minutes into the chart, so double break of initial bounce high, initial bounce low are pretty likely, which is why stops need to be below the 15-minute orb. Catching a 2-minute sell signal here. Let's see if we miss this entry, if we could catch up another potential higher low here. So another higher low could also work if we clear out this bar's high and create a 2-minute CBC flip, but clearly we never cleared out this bar's high, right? So let's see if we're able to catch another long entry. Another pullback towards opening print here. Good trade location to catch potential long. Okay, you see doji candle failed to hold, breaking down back below. Slightly running the low of day here, so now be interested in another long potential here. Very low risk trade. Like I could even buy the red bar here, right? Let's say I buy the red bar here. My risk is slightly below prior day low, so I could put my stops at 57. 2-minute bullish CBC flip to the upside. This itself is another valid entry long, right? I could have even bought red here, right? I could have bought red candle here, red candle close here, still provide me a 1.3 R trade, but ideally I would have got in if I bought like a pullback red here. Yeah, let's see if this plays out. So I don't remember what trades I did take on Monday, but let's see my cross reference as to like my back test versus my live trades, right? Because essentially I want to back test enough to the point where I'm very good at seeing the trades myself live and also on a replay. So let's see this play out. If this target hits first, right, and I see a nice hold above the initial balance, then I'd be open and willing to hold towards the overnight high as well. And it's funny to say that I honestly don't really fully remember the trades I did take on Monday or this week entirely, because I feel like I just have very short-sighted memory as to what goes on. So we could take a look at the 3-minute chart here. You can see once we had the 3-minute CVC flip, if you bought red and you could sell towards green, it would have been good. A little struggle here against high of day, but once initial bounce high clears out, this is looking good towards the Friday high. Okay, see, that's a great candle there, right? Great candle there. See, this was, okay, no, let me see. Yeah, so this right here, I think I would have took the full exit off around here as we are creating lower highs here now and failing structure. I think I do remember this trade actually. And then let's pause right here. I think right here as we backtest inside of initial bounce high, I know this is like a hindsight as we kind of do miss some of the entry already, but this here itself looked like a clear initial balance high breakout, retest and breakout where we could have targeted the overnight highs. Reason being is because you have a 2-minute inside bar here and you're testing initial balance highs. So you want to see if a sustained auction holds. Sometimes how I see it is that either we need to see a strong body hold candle, hold inside of the initial balance, right? Or I'll look for some type of retracement if the price is very strong, right? Then I'll look for some type of retracement hold inside of this first 25% retracement mark. So pull back into this area here and just have initial balance is typically a good buy signal for me personally. Let's take a look at the 5-minute, 3-minute if anything triggers. Same 3-minute chart triggered. If you're watching a 3-minute, you could take the inside bar breakout high to the upside, and your risk to reward is still looking at like 3R trade, right? Let me clear out this right here. Let me try to move this drawing, but this drawing's not working. But let me see, stops realistically for this trade would have been 43. right? 43 would have been stops, and then targeting the overnight highs. Let's see what time of day we are in it as well. 12:30. So a little tricky trade as it is a lunch hour trade, right? But still, I think this trade is still a valid trade that's worth it. Let's take a look at the 5-minute chart. 5 is still holding up. 5-minute CBC flipped to the downside, but you can see we back tested the overnight prior highs and we rallied. But would I have held to like this whole entire move here? Personally, I don't think so. I think once this move got tagged, I would totally have been done for the trade. So let's select the bar. Let's see. Oops, I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pause this. Can I pause this video? Hold on. I'm gonna pause this here. I need 1 second. All right, I'm back. Just had to grab something real quick. All right, so let's go back towards the NQ, right? I'm gonna try not to cheat, so we'll do a replay, bar replay back on NQ on Monday. Can we do 2 bar replays at once? Oh no, we can only do 1 bar replay at a time, so it's fine. We'll run through the whole entire week, so at least I don't get any sight as to what really happened so much. All right, so let's run the rest of the session. I think I would have been done by now because it's end of day already, so I don't think I would have taken anything else. Yep, I would have been done, and that's a good sign of being done. I mean, let's say you want to catch a high day fade here. It's a decent shot because fades are good close to the last 2 hours, so decent shot short towards back to overnight highs. But all right, let's take a look at the next session. So this session we formed this session, right? Let's recap the 2 potential entries or 3 potential entries we had. So first one was more of an aggressive entry. It was more so because you had a 2-minute CVC flip pre-market. You had a bought red, sold green, right? So buy the red candle down and try to sell back to the upside. This would have been a very aggressive entry at 9:30. Your better, safer entry would have been after the first 15-minute orb got run to the downside, and then you are buying either a 2-minute buy or a 2 or 3-minute CVC flip to the upside, right? And then just risking below priority low. I think this stop, I still would have had the stop towards 53, right? Or 47. 53 or 47 would have been good stops for this trade. But let's just leave it as that. 2.6 R trade, 2.89 R trade, which is good. This trade itself also is a pretty textbook trade, just not my favorite time of the day as we are into lunch hour. But, you know, this was itself was a 2.9, almost a 3R trade. So all 3 trades, I would have hit those. Let's see what the next day sets up. So next day sets up, let's see what type of open inside day we have. So next day sets up, we are essentially overnight range, right? It's trading to the downside, so creating lower highs. Let's see, market's about to open very, very soon. I'm gonna slow down the pace when market opens here. Is market open already? 11 p.m. Oh no, it's 11 p.m. But let's just, oops. Oh, let's go to like a larger time frame interval. This should move it faster. I just want to make sure we don't get to the market open. All right, so super nice rally from overnight lows, basically. All right, so let's go back a bar. I hate cheating. I feel like I'm cheating when this thing goes a little too fast. But let's take a look. Let's watch and execute on the 2-minute chart, right? Let's slow down speed to 0.3. So we are pushing back to the upper end of range here. So let's see, the open day type is an open inside day, right? So we're catching a 2-minute sell to the downside here, right? But keep in mind with the overall range here, right? So lower end of range, upper end of range. Ideally, if I see some type of failure to the lower pattern, I would want to see a turn back to tag the overnight highs here. So let me get my drawing tool. Overnight highs here is very ideal, right? Overnight highs is very ideal. I need to see either a failure to go lower, holding somewhat of the first like 15-minute orb, or ideally pulled back to my levels here for a long, right? Any type of tag of these 2 levels, then my long thesis is invalidated for the session. Let's play it. Okay, another solid candle there. So another a 2 minute inside bar here now. So no, we have a 2 minute inside bar setting up. 2 minute ran, the prior candle is low, so it could be set up a failure to go lower pattern here. Doji candle there. See, look, we ran the stops low there now. Still below the opening price, so it's a little risky, but this is where I'd be starting to look for a long entry into the session here. If we're able to maybe get back above this candle's high, I would target, first target would be essentially this overnight high, right? And the second target would be essentially this priority highs. But the only thing about this trade is that we need to hold below the, what time is it right now? So it's 10:40, so basically a 10-minute orb is set. 15-minute orb, high stats of this getting ran, right? So my stops need to be at, I would keep them tight honestly, because look, if I leave them towards like below the 400 whole number and I leave them towards like, let's say 97 or 91, at that point my R is a 1.5 R. I'm not taking a 1.5 R trade. There's no shot. The minimum trade I look for is 2 Rs. So I can leave stops at 17 here. My trigger would be a break above this candle's high. So let's see. So break above this candle's high, right? This is a good entry now. I could have also entered, right, for better confirmation, a 2-minute CBC flip to the upside. So let's say that I entered on this candle, right, 2-minute candle close, and I'm risking below, right? So 2-minute candle close, enter in there, risking below the same area, right? Still for my prior overnight highs target, that would be 1.5 R. But if I extend it now, because it's still open inside day, to the overnight highs, this is a 2R trade now. So let's take a look at the 5-minute chart, how it's setting up. 5-minute chart's pretty nice too. I could have executed on the 5-minute. Taking the 5-minute buy trigger though would have gave you still a 2R trade, right? But ideally with such a 5-minute bar NQ, these stops become pretty wide. So what I would want to see is more so of a buy red sell green setup where we're buying the green bar's body. So if we had some type of a pullback early on inside of this body, I would have bought that. But clearly, that wasn't the case. And even here, right now, even here, I think this is actually the setup I actually did take when I saw the NQ setup. Let's say I did miss the low of day entry, right? This itself here is such a great entry as we are rallying to the upside. Took out overnight highs already, so in theory, I would lean more bullish and target overnight Friday highs next. This right here was a very good 2-minute buy signal here, right? Reason being because this is basically a potential higher low and a failure to go low setup, right? Where we target the overnight Friday highs here. And I am risking, let's say, with this trade, if low of the day is 36, I would risk 27 basically. 27 towards overnight Friday highs. I do remember this trade, so it feels like a little bit of cheating right now. And yeah, my target did hit, but I did miss these initial 2 entries long at the open. Instead, I was able to catch the follow-up entry on the pullback towards the opening print and the 5-minute CBC flip to the upside, where you were basically able to buy a red candle pullback inside of the body, or you could have bought the potential higher low breakout of the 2 or 3-minute buy here. So this target did tag, I do remember. Let's skip over towards the end of session now for this trade. Just kind of move this a little faster. So target got tagged here. How much higher do we go? I don't know. I don't care. I already hit the target that I wanted. Your secondary setup is basically a potential high low off of the initial bounce high already. But typically when the priority high or the overnight high is taken out already, I'm not interested in taking any more trades. You can see we are creating potentially a lower high here, but I think that any type of pullback, like I mentioned earlier before, right, inside of the initial balance is a good potential setup long, right? As this is known as a strength inside of an initial balance trade, right? So if you mark out this to this, you see buying the inside of a pullback of this range, the first 25% retracement inside initial balance is a good setup. So let's take a look at the following day, right? Following day, let's not cheat too much. 840, we're about to have a market open. So switch to a 3-minute chart here. I don't want to see too much of the price candle action forming for me. I want to get more so of a fresh feel as to like our day type open and what we're going to do. All right, let's see. Right now it's 9:36. Oh, this is PM right now. All right, so we gotta skip ahead a little bit, like a lot of it. I keep thinking it's like AM. Um, da, 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 da. All right, let's see. 4 a.m. I just want to pause it before I get too far towards 9 a.m. All right, super close to 9 a.m. now. 8:50 up. Play one more bar. 8:50. All right. Oh, this feels like cheating. This feels like cheating. All right, so let's see. Overnight highs got tagged, right? And I know I saw the action already, and this hit the overnight lows, which is kind of bullshit. But for me, because we did tag the overnight highs first, I necessarily don't expect a stop run. I think with my hindsight bias, I think I kind of remember this day was a very choppy day. But hindsight, right? Or like if I was trading in the moment, I would have personally took this 2 minute buy, right? Retesting back this overnight high. Because at this given point, like of course I got stopped out, right? But I'm trading as if I'm trading my system like I do every single day. So I'm gonna just fast forward this a little bit. Oh, 7 times speed is way too fast. Let's slow it down. So let's go down to 0.5 speed. So overnight high gets tagged, right? If overnight high gets tagged at this point, I'm still interested in looking for some type of potential long because we're still at an all-time high market. So I'm not really interested in shorting this. So 2 minute bar forms here. See, you have a 2 minute bullish bar here, right? So like for me, the bar is very bullish, right? And for me, I don't know if I've been quick enough to catch this exact turn 6 minutes into the market. Let's see what I did take, but I would have bought the pullback on a 2 minute CBC buy, right? So 2 minute CBC buy to the downside. I clearly would have got stopped out, but I would have bought this red candle pullback, right? My stops probably would have been 57, right? 57, or if I want to give you a little water, 47, right? 57, 47, still risk to reward is not that great, but I would have an assumption that we do break out of this IB high area. And at that very given point, if we at least have an extension, I would have targeted at least like, I want to say like 900, honestly. Like 900 would have been like a decent target for me because that would be like a realistic extension of IB high breaking if this did turn at that very moment, right? Clearly, I would have got stopped out. One rule I want to go about is trying to take less trades below the opening print in terms of longs. So yeah, once this trade stops out here, the secondary trade I would look for is a long close to yesterday's low here, right? So let's put out the action here. Stopped out the first trade. This would be my second trade long, right? Okay, so this right here is tricky again, right? So we ran the overnight lows. We did get a 2 minute CVC flip to the upside. So because we got 2 minute flip to the upside, this itself here, for myself too, like what times right now? 10:50. I could have gotten long here. Like I think I would have tried this trade, honestly. Being totally honest with you, I think I would have tried this trade. Let's put the stops below at 83 or 81. 81, right? We would target the opening print here, which is 1.65 trade, or the IB high here, which is a realistic target. Let's say this is my second attempt long, right? If I'm doing new rules, 2 attempts long above OP, right? 2 attempts long above the opening print, below the OP actually, below. All right, see now we're catching a nice potential higher low long here, right? You see we pulled back and retested this level here now, right? So after we held this level, a retest this level is a good shot, right? I think I actually do remember this trade. I think I did enter this trade on a 2 minute pullback buy, and we ended up rejecting this overnight high area, and I let the trade go like kind of against me at that point. Um, but when I was looking at it, everything looked fine to me. Like, you know, we ended up rejecting overnight Friday highs area, but I was still looking for IB high, as IB high was my original target and was my 2R target, right? So, you know, I should have trailed out, I think right here would have been a good trail bar, right? But I let the trade go against me. I remember this trade wasn't the best management, but I did trade my plan though, right? Even like hindsight, when I'm trading like back tested, I think I'm still, I'd like to believe that I'm still taking the same entries that I am trading hindsight versus in real time. Because at the end of the day, my system is exactly the same. I always execute the same exact way, the same entry criteria, right? Reading the same date type criteria, right? And just trying to get a gauge of that. But yeah, I think I do end up eating back the stop. And one thing that I guess I have to note for the next time is that when we get a double tag of overnight highs and overnight lows, I already say there's no edge. It's more so of an avoid day. But one thing I was trying to do is just play off of this area right here. This was the key area I was playing off here. And then yeah, I think I probably would have put like break even stop. I probably would have exited the trade here in full. So I say like I just take the L here, exit the trade and fold. This is 2 L's for the day. I should have called it here. This is where like I should have called it, because in theory, if we really wanted to get back above and break out, this shouldn't have created a bear flag. What a bear flag is a strong trend to the downside, a retest of a level, right? And the trend to fall back the downside move. But because we are in an all-time high market, I was okay shooting the shot long, right? On the 2-minute buy here. I was also okay shooting this shot here on the buy red sell green entry here, right? Totally okay. I think I would have ate the entries here for the day. Um, I would have ate the L's here for the day, but hey, it is what it is. What can you do? It's still like, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to ingrain in my own head that, even when I'm trading replay, right? I'm trading replay on the day. There's still a chance that I'm not going to be able to, properly read the market, or, like, I don't know, just there's always a chance that, the trade doesn't work out, because every single trade is a coin flip, right? I gotta get used to the ideology. And yeah, wow, the trade started reversing. I don't really remember the rest of the day's action here, but let's see. You did get a 30-minute bullish CBC flip, so I guess if I would have held out since this area here, oh no, we basically closed at, oh, so this was a day that we stayed within initial balance range. Yeah, this is one of those like 10% days where we stayed inside of IB range, but very, very tough trader. I don't think I would have held. Once we would have broke down here, there's no shot I would have held towards end of day, because end of day, I don't really trade end of day. Usually by like 12 or 1 o'clock, my trade position is completely closed out. So this would have got stopped out. So this would have been an L day for me. So L day, 2 L's, right? I would have taken these 2 L's on this day. And then yeah, let's keep pushing it forward here. Let's keep pushing it forward. Times 3. This time I'm not going to let's see, 9 p.m. Okay. All right, so we'll get close to the New York session open, which is at 9:30 here, but all right, let's take a look. I do remember this day though, as we are getting closer to the like most recent trading session I had. So this does feel like a bit of cheating, and I think I know how I know the trades I took, and I executed a beautiful trade this day. But all right, let's take a look here. Let's practice executing the 5-minute chart here now, right? 5-minute bullish CVC flip to the upside, right? This itself is holding the level that I would have wanted to hold pre-market. I would have essentially entered this trade here as well, right? The risk for this trade is very tough, because I am buying these 5-minute chart candles are really big. So let's say that I caught the red candle pullback, right? And ideally my stop is overnight lows, but let's say that I did put it right here. Still not a 2-hour trade. So I can't take a trade that's not 2-hour, honestly. Or like, I mean, I can, but I would target this, right? Let's say that this was my initial trade. I think I did take this on an eval, and I remember eating the first stop, right? So it does feel like cheating, but let's say you got 2-minute bullish CVC flip to the upside, you have a 2-minute buy signal here, right? You're buying red on the pullback, right? Let's target this high area here. So Friday, oh, I have to fix my script here, but it's actually like a 70% chance that this script is broken. I don't know why this is like that, but I'll adjust the script. Okay, so see, you clearly would have saw that I would have ate the stop here, right? So first trade, I would have ate the stop, right? Wait, a retest of a second entry here, right? Would have been, I know this entry because it actually took the trade. So a retest could have been a break above this candle bar's high for a 2-minute buy, right? Risking 37, targeting essentially Friday's low. Why? Because when you open it below yesterday's range, especially on equities, there's about a 71% chance on NQ that you actually go and retest the highs, right? I remember in this area here, it was consolidating and it gave me some type of a vibe here that we could have held the IB high range and sold back off and not have tagged this, right? So I was very wary here of seeing, is this like an actual bull flag where we held above this hourly level at 30299, right? Or is this more of a setup like this, right? Where the prior session, we got super close to IB high, right? We edged it and then we just sold back off, right? Because take a look at this. At the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, this area here itself was also somewhat of a bull flag, right? You have a V bottom reversal, you're rallying up, you kind of create somewhat of a bull flag here, and you're trying to get back up above the Friday's high. And you're still holding below the opening print. But I guess the difference of this trade is that we are holding above the opening print, right? And we are mainly holding above the key level, not only the opening print, but the key level of 30299.5. And we're back testing and holding it, right? So I think any type of failure to hold this bar here and a break back below here, I would have had to put my break even stops within here because we could have pulled the same action, faded back towards the low of day, right? And then consolidate, right, and go even lower, or close back in the middle session range. Those are very two realistic options, right? So my trade would have had targeted this level here, and I wouldn't have targeted the overnight highs here because there's about, I don't know, like a 10% chance that that level gets taken out. So I already know this trade plays out and how it plays out for. So the trade was a W itself. After this entry here, wouldn't have looked for anything else because I feel like everything else is extension. I remember I did enter into a potential lower high at a short here, but I got stopped out here. So yeah, so gonna be done with that. Let's take a look into the next session here. Next session, I already know what happens here. This was a very bad trading day for me. Well, not very bad, but it was a very tough trading day because we had such a lot of wonky action here. I don't really think like I'm gonna act like I knew, like I'm not gonna play and perfectly back test this, right? But I'll talk about my live thoughts as to why I took what trade I did. Okay, let's stop right here. Oops, let's stop right there. So, right, so what's going on here? We have a gap below green day, which I did miss and didn't realize. And what that means is that we basically had a green bar yesterday, and today we're opening up gap down below that. So essentially the longs are getting screwed over and shorts are squeezing them to the downside. But still, because of the trade I did take in, let's say, the prior session with a 71% chance, I didn't really realize the gap below green day. So I still would have tried to target the Friday low as we are in an all-time high market. So let's continue to play this out. I remember the trade I did take, and I'm not really happy about it, right? So let's say we saw a 2-minute bullish CVC flip to the downside. I mean, a 2-minute flip here, right? We tagged this level. I think I actually did take this trade, and I took a stop on it. But I would have entered here, right? Like risking, let's say like 43, right? And I would have targeted this. The trade itself was fine, right? And the reason why, like it's hindsight, right? A reason why I would say the trade is fine here, even though I know it ended up failing, is because I was trading the same thesis that I had here yesterday. 71% odds we tag the Friday low, right? 71% odds we tag the Friday low. I know I ate the stop here and we gapped down like 5% for the session, but still, I think this was like my second entry in long. Let me see. Yeah, I think I ended up taking like a second entry along here. So either that, right? Or even like with this bar here, like I would have kind of felt comfortable, right? Looking for some type of a failure pattern of a potential higher low long here. Still looking for the tag towards IB high and then fall by IB high, the Friday low here, right? So I was just incorrect on direction for this day. There's nothing else I would have done better, to be very frankly honest with you. I think the one thing I could have potentially done better is just understanding how big of a gap down we had from the overnight session and that it was a gap below green day. But I was kind of seeing it somewhat of like this type of day, right? Where it's like, let me see if I can find some type of cleaner action where it's like very similar setup to this, right? But we kind of lack a level where it's like we rally to the upside, right? Pull back and create a potential high low here, right? So V bottom, rally, pull back, create a potential high low. But I guess the valid part of this trade is that potential high low, we did clear out this high, right? So essentially, when we ran back and tested, we tested this area's high. You know what I'm saying? So if I go back to this trade here, we clearly, okay, let me see. Yeah, we never cleared out. So in theory, right, when you're catching these V bottoms, the validity of this higher low, it gets really cleared out when you come here. So if you get cleared out, if this V bottom clears this level out, right, the next pullback to, let's say, the opening print and then a ride up would have been a better entry here. You know, so that's proper market structure for you. But I already know what happens for the day. Sell off all day, right? Let's now go back to, let's leave this, right? And let's look at the live trades that I actually took now. So what I did was that I essentially took a look at, yeah, so let's take a look day by day, right? Start by Monday. So Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, right? Let's look at all the trades that I've marked out. Let's look at all the trades I've marked out here on Monday versus the actual trades I took on Monday. So Friday, Thursday, Wednesday. Oh, I don't think it saves on like both of the charts, like Friday, Monday. Let me see if this looks different on this chart. MQ here. Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Monday the 1st. Yeah, okay, so like these two charts for some reason are showing different stuff, so we're gonna have to take a screenshot of the trades that we did take. So let's take a look at Friday screenshot. All right, so we'll do like this. Friday screenshot, Thursday screenshot. Sorry, this is like a hectic process right here. Thursday screenshot, Wednesday screenshot, Tuesday screenshot, and then Monday screenshot. But you know, this is a hectic process, but you gotta do what you gotta do to review. All right, so then let's take a look at NQ chart here now. Now let's scroll back towards Monday right here. Let's do one charter because we don't need that other chart. Okay, Monday. So Monday, let's compare what we back tested, right? And what we did end up taking. So Monday, as you can see on the right side screen, I'm gonna see if I can zoom this in a little more. So Monday, as you can see on the left side and on the right side, let me just pull this up here. So Monday, as you can see on the left side and the right side, the Monday trade I did take was a valid trade. So very similar setup. I basically took the pullback on the failure to go lower here. I think I bought the red candle here. I remember I bought red here when market opened, and I had stopped below the, let's see, 64 area. I think I had stops at 61 or 63 for the trade recap, and I ended up exiting the trade right before priority high. Reason being, right, was because I guess my R to R was starting to fade. So I think I only took it all the way up here. I think we tagged priority high. So I guess recap is that I could have just let limit order sit here, but I think I was being so bullish that I wanted to target this level here instead. So this trade, I took that. I didn't take the retest of the initial balance high, so that is something that I did well on the replay. Hindsight, you know, hindsight trading is easy, but I think because once I exited the trade around here, it was so fresh. And about 15 minutes later, I just didn't feel the urge to take another trade because we already tagged the priority high. And also, we missed the overnight lows by like one tick, so overnight highs was still in play. So that was Monday. So Monday trades lined up together, honestly. Oh, I did take the short at end of day, something I talked about here, but I didn't take that on the live replay because I think I was just too exhausted. Let's take a look at Tuesday action. So Tuesday action, um, I missed the Tuesday live action trade I took. I missed the overnight lows move here. So we can even take a look here, right? So Tuesday, I took NQ pullback at the opening print, right? So this was a great trade. Tuesday, pullback opening at the opening print, ride back up towards high of day. Missed the initial entry that I did take here on the replay here. So Tuesday, I think I did pretty well, funny enough. Wednesday, let's see what trades I took on Wednesday. Wednesday was a little tough. Yeah, so Wednesday, this was a tougher one. I think I did take two L's here as well. So Wednesday, I think I did try to catch the long here. So let's take a look at Wednesday notes. Wednesday, yeah, I had no wins. I longed ES pre-market, took a L on that. And then I also tried to long the NQ on, I think, this 2-minute bullish engulfing here. So slight pullback on the 2-minute bullish engulfing here. Try to target like what I said here, which is the overnight highs. But essentially, I missed that. I guess I didn't take the long entry here. But yeah, I missed that. I think I ended up reattempting a potential long setup here as well. I think I saw on the 5-minute this was like a potential long entry. Yeah, on the 5-minute, we had a potential long entry. So I saw this as, a potential higher low here. So bull flag, right? Bull flag, potential higher low. 5-minute CBC flip to the upside, buy red candle, put stops somewhere below the most recent pivot low, targeting the initial bounce high. Clearly, these two shots were invalid, right? So again, right, two shots, like I should only give myself 2 attempts long below OP and then stop, right? Because in theory, below the opening print are valid shorts, right? So these are more so reversal type trades, but in an all-time high market, I like to attempt what I like to attempt. And then let's look at Friday. I mean, this is Thursday, right? Thursday, those are my 2 attempt longs, right? So in terms of Thursday of what I took, my Thursday attempt longs were actually right here. So Thursday, first, was this Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, so first attempt long, I think I bought like somewhat of like a 2-minute turn here or something, or a pullback towards, I remember I bought a pullback towards the lower end of range and somewhat of a 5-minute fail to go lower here. Tried to ride it back up to the same level, right? Friday low, ate that stop, right? Second entry was the same exact entry I did right here, right? So you can see like I'm practicing the replay and reviewing my trades because I'm teaching myself to remember the same exact entry types I like to find, right? So this is a 2-minute fail to go lower bar, right? Ran the prior candles low, failed to hold below that. Next candle broke above that candle bar's high, confirmed that it failed to go lower. Stopped slightly below the IB low this time, as we did tag the overnight lows already. So prior to low tag, you see this was a 6R trade, very good. But I think I ended up taking it off around here anyways. I took it off, I think, around here. So it was more of a 5R trade. So very, very good trade. Another potential higher low. I didn't see, like, funny enough, sometimes you catch them live, sometimes you do the replay, you don't catch them, right? So this here, I did catch this trade as well, of a pullback to initial bounce high, right? Same exact setup we talked about on Monday, right? Pullback to initial bounce high, right? 2-minute buy signal. Pullback to initial bounce high, right? Create a pause bar, 2-minute buy signal, right? These setups are repeatable. My playbook is repeatable. There's nothing new that I need to do. Yeah, so that was that trade. Let's take a look at Friday. Friday, it took 1L on the NQ and I called it because I just knew the action was very, very tough, right? The trade I did end up taking was one bad trade and then I just called it, honestly, here. I think I took it around here at 1048. Why 1048? Horrible idea, right? Because we are holding bully opening print. And if I take a look here, I started seeing lower high form, right? So for me to try to catch a potential higher low, failed to go lower, higher low, I was essentially just aiming for a move back towards the opening print, which, does make sense. And this trade is valid. Don't get me wrong. In my playbook, I think this trade is valid, right? But the thing about this trade that makes it invalid is the fact that time of day is not in my favor anymore, right? So time of day is not in my favor anymore. And also, this is a gap under green day, right? Clearly, I mean, I guess I respected the rule of, only 2 shots long and below the opening print. But again, I should have took a picture. I should have understood the bigger picture context of what was going on here and the date type we were at. Because if I understood the date type, I would not have attempted this long at all whatsoever. Again, the thesis was me playing the Friday thesis of a potential long below the opening print, right? Tagging the Friday is low, 71% chance that's going to tag, right? But the difference between this day and this day is that this day was a gap under green, whereas this day was just a regular gap under Friday's low type day. So bearish outside day, this was a gap below green day. So I mean, in theory, if this trade would have played out, this was a 6R trade, and you may ask, oh, why didn't I risk IB low here? Dude, because the range was so wide already, there's no shot I was gonna, what? If I risk somewhere below IB low and I'm targeting the like opening print here, right? Dude, I'm looking at a 1.5R trade. I don't take 1.5R trades. The only type of trades I take is anything above a 2R trade. Otherwise, my R to R is skewed. And with my hit rate, it's just not ideal in my favor. But yeah, let's take a look at this now, where I'm going to go over what I did well and my losses. So losses, pre-market long, right? Why I'm pre-market long, right? Wednesday, ES pre-market long, right? I think Friday also attempted like pre-market. I think I attempted like one pre-market long trade. So the common theme about this week that needs to be improved, right, is no more trades pre-market. No more trades pre-market and use daily CBC as guidance. But I think if I want to simplify it, right, I think the overall thesis and takeaway is just no more trades pre-market. Like that's like the best thing, right? Because going into this week, right, no more EMAs with EMAs with no confirmation, right? Did I do anything with any EMAs the following week? No, and I had a much better week, right? Did I take any trades without CBC confirmation? No, majority of my trades are with CBC confirmation, right? If you look at the pattern and the theme of what's going on here, as long as I follow and understand the mistakes I made the prior week, the following week will be much better. So that is my weekly recap. I know this one was a much longer one, but it was needed. And regardless of it being a long or not, this is mainly for myself and for myself to look back at in the next 5 years, right? Because I'm 6 years in right now. Given another 5 years, I mean, much better than I am sitting at the position I am right now. But I'm gonna continue to go through the flows and my processes. Let me take a look right here. This is June 6th. So this is the week of June 1st to June 6th. So for June, the first week of June, pretty good week, right? First week of June, pretty good week. Let's see what sets up for the next 3 weeks in June. And yeah, I'll probably review this Monday morning, but before pre-market, and also Sunday night. Just remember, like no more pre-market trades, right? I already cut out Globex trades. It's been helping my P&L a ton. Now I'm cutting up. If I cut up pre-market trades, it's probably gonna help my P&L a ton as well. So that's it for the trade recap for this week.